Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Keep the Mic On. I am Simply Sherry, and as we've said every week since March 2020, we are here in conversation with an amazing artist, someone that we consider a friend or a homie, and if they're not, they're going to become one of the homies. I would tell you what my night is about, but tonight is my night, so we're going to pause that. Let me kick it to the one, the only Girl Genius.
Hey everyone, I am Girl Genius. Nice to be here with you this lovely Sunday. Hoping it doesn't drop down raining in the next couple minutes, although it doesn't actually matter. You gotta love being in the home studio, right? So my week is called Let's Talk About the ... Usually books, where I get an artist and I pick their brain about the process. If it's books, then it's writing process. It's just how do we get from here's an idea to here's a thing. That is the gist of my night. I am first week of every month, so I will in theory be back at the beginning of June with my next episode. Yay. Anywho, I am now going to kick it to, since you're right above me, we're playing Brady Bunch, Nikki J.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Keep the Mic On. This is the time for me to tell your mama and them and all your friends that we are on live, and we are here every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also a perfect opportunity for me to let you know that everybody who joins us, they join us for free, but these platforms are not free. So if you would like us to continue to keep the mic on, you can contribute to our Cash App at Keep the Mic On. Remember, if you're watching and you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Okay,
Talking to you. We're talking to you.
Like, follow, subscribe, and then
Comment. Let us know.
Comment. Let us know. You know who you would like to see, and that we cute and stuff. We like compliments as well. So definitely do that. My week is called Poets and Platforms, where I interview poets who do platforms for the arts. May not be poetry platforms, but other platforms. And whatever week that is, number 4, the 4th week. So I'll be back next week. It is my pleasure and my honor to kick it to Miss Cayenne.
Hi. That's the best part for me, almost the best part of the show is the introductions. Hi, everyone. I am Miss Cayenne. I'm a poet, and I know it. And my segment is called Passion Projects, the root behind the why. Basically, getting to know why you do what you do. So, of course, it's going to be an exciting time. I think next week is my week. So we're going to have a wonderful artist. But, of course, I love to stay in the moment. And we have a fantabulous guest for tonight, and I'm going to defer to my wonderful co-host, Simply Sherry.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition. It is my night. It is called From Behind the Microphone. This is when we take the time to get to know the person behind the art, the poet behind the poem, because we are people too. Tonight, and I'm delaying because my computer is doing all of the most. This is also the time while my computer is doing that. You want to go find your friends and them, because you're going to want to hear this conversation with this extraordinary artist. When I say that Black Root is one of my favorites, he is truly one of my favorites and has been for over a decade. Give me 1 second. I had his bio pulled up and my computer decided to do some extra work in the background that I had not intended it to do. Come on, computer. How was everybody's week while I'm still stalling?
I had an awesome week. I spent the week in Ocean City performing actually for a conference. It was ideal because as a human service professional, it was a human service conference. And then as a poet, I was there kind of literally melding my whole world together. So it was pretty darn awesome, I have to say. I'm a little tired. But it was good.
Oh, but hey, I'm not. I applaud you being able to do that. Because it's not often that we get to meld our passions in that way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right, here we go. Got the bio, everybody.
Awesome.
I'll see y'all in a little bit. Black Root. My computer is still giving me the blues. I don't know why tonight. Jamaal Black Root Collier is a full-time multidisciplinary performance and master teaching artist. For more than 2 decades, he has channeled his art form through theater, vocal percussion, emceeing, rapping, singing, didgeridoo playing, drumming, spoken word poetry, and hosting events. MA's master teaching artist, Mr. Root is a Grammy-nominated songwriter and has directly impacted 500,000 students, faculty, and staff through workshops, assemblies, and residencies. His infectious energy and skill set serve him well as the co-founder of Beatbox Dads, a live music and movement experience, frontman of the Black Root Underground, vocal percussionist for the QueenEarth Band, and MC for the Mindstate mixed duo with J. Pope, as well as Root and Word as Axiom. He works with our former guest Word Slave. Root articulates his passion and appreciation for his artistry and his community every time he teaches and performs. Everyone, please, let's welcome Black Root.
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. I want to give you all a round of applause, actually.
I love it.
Yeah, this platform is definitely vital and necessary, and I'm very honored and privileged to be a part of it. So,
well, we can definitely say that when we wrote our original list of artists that we wanted to have appear on this platform, you were on that list. It's just taken us a while to get here.
A long list. There are a lot of dope people, so I'm honored to be one of those folks.
So I am going to exit stage left and let you perform a little, and then we'll be back for the interview.
Sounds good to me. All right, bear with me. I have a loop station, so I'm going to craft a beat, and then I'm going to perform over it for you. Yo, represent. Yo, represent. Hey, represent. Hey, represent. PG representative, it's evident. I got nothing but love for B-More and Maryland. Yo, PG representative, it's evident. I got nothing but love for DC and Maryland. Yo, representative, it's evident. I got nothing but love for everybody. Yo, B-More, Maryland, the capital, Annapolis. I hop, skip, and jump from the capital district. Misfits, struggling, accumulating capital. Our Mindstate, put us on the map at school. I rap a few bars to illuminate the nightlife. Bright lights, parasucals when they write they skin tight. Their skins might get a couple wins if one night the moon is blue enough. True enough, Bama's rocking burgundy and gold forever, screwing up the nation. Politics can devastate a state when they've been playing with our funds like playpen. Fisher Price, New Balance blue is nice. You got them 996s, okay then. Pretty Girl County, home of the middle class vixens. Families round the way be steady lunching, kirkin, tripping, go-go, icebox, slow flow, rugged wear, Von Teff, can't forget the madness, logos, drop socks, roll call at 5 o'clock. Lenny's, Benny's, and Danny be always on your local block. I be spitting and flaming it straight up out my vocal box. I ain't Diddy, but shit, can't stop, won't stop. PG representative, it's evident. I got nothing but love for everybody in Maryland. DC representative, it's evident. I got nothing but love for everybody in Maryland. B-More representative, it's evident. I got nothing but love for everybody in Maryland. Yo, represent. Hey, You represent. Now, can I deliver a rhyme? Come on, you can't be serious. Can I deliver a rhyme? I'm bound to shine when I deliver it. Deliver it flows, others oppose, they can't be serious. It's Black Root from 8-5, repping the PG areas. From Forestville to Mitchell, Oxford Hill to Suitland. A land over, stand over, cause we be official. The home of go-go, when cats that got slow flow, but ready to speed back up, keep it regular rough in case you don't know. Lyrics like Ray for Edmonds, the rhymes are dope, yo. And we got spots and blocks where bammers know they won't go. Some youngers grind the hardest, some bammers well regardless. They claim it thug but can't call it what they get 10 to college. Now I'm a quest for knowledge, but I just can't complain. From Oxford Hill to Eastern Shore, back to Notre Dame. Haters be acting fame, acting narcoleptic. We change it up and keep it fresh like an antiseptic. So face the facts, accept it, cause we don't got time to play. Or you'll be lost, taking a loss like John Bonet. Yo, PG representative, it's evident. I got nothing but love for everybody. Now let them in. All right. So that's a little something I got right there.
I love that song.
Made my forehead sweat.
That is one of my favorites. It always comes on right when I'm in the middle of working out. If you do not have Prelude to Procrastination, first off, can anybody else get it?
Yes, they can. I got it right here in this area. It looks like this if you're looking for it. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all the major distribution streams. What do you call those? I forget. My acronym is out my mind right now, but yeah, all streaming platforms. You could also, if you want to pay me more money, you can go to Bandcamp as well.
So definitely, we will always say go to Bandcamp first. That Bandcamp will directly impact the artist compared to sending it out streaming or anything along that line. So make the purchase on Bandcamp so that you can get that album, Prelude to Procrastination. I was at the CD release for that.
Yeah, you were.
Be Free Fridays.
Yeah. Be Free Fridays, yo. Yeah, and if you want the hard copy, just holler at me. Holler at my DM, Black Root 1 on Instagram, and I'll mail it to you. You know what I'm saying? Yes. You'll cover the shipping and handling, but we'll keep it moving.
And if you do that, he'll sign it.
Absolutely.
How you doing this evening, Black Root?
I'm feeling well. You know, I just finished making some dinner for the kids. Well, I started it. And so you know they'll be ready to eat and doing their digestive processes while I'm on here chatting it up with you.
Gotta love the kids are so cute. So I know we've there are a list of things that you sent to me that you wanted to talk about, but you just did something that I want to talk about first. Okay. The trip to Panama.
Yeah.
What were you doing in Panama?
Well, you know, I'm gonna preface it by saying I'm a grown ass man. You know what I mean? But I got flued out, y'all. I got flued out. So I had an amazing all expenses paid experience to be an ambassador for the culture for one. Then I went over to Panama. I performed at the U.S. Embassy in Panama, and then I also performed at the International School of Panama, right outside of San Francisco. Which is another city in Panama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not like, San Francisco. It's so cool, like when you're in another city and you see a street name, you thought, that street name is only indigenous to where I'm from. But no, you got an MLK in every state. You got a John Street in every state or whatever, So there's a San Francisco in Panama.
Okay.
And the food, I ain't gonna say the food is better than in San Francisco, but it's definitely more Latin inspired and it's more, you get some arepas in there, you get some good things going on. But yeah, it was a beautiful experience. I want to say in 3 days, I probably did about 14 workshops and professional developments in those 3 days. And then the other days, I just made it the vacation experience and I climbed a mountain, went to a beach. Did a lot of cool stuff when I was down there too. So it was an amazing experience. And I was there on behalf of Teach, Transcontinental Educators and Artists Collective for Humanity. And,
wow.
Yeah, I went there for that. And Pat Cruz is the CEO and founder of that organization, and they do amazing work. So I was just honored to be a part of the roster to go down there and represent for them.
Because I saw that and I was just like that because during your social media during the time that you were gone, you were definitely pointing out that you were doing workshops and teaching and giving everybody the Black Root experience. So I wanted to know what that was and how was that process from the time you found out about it to when you left, about how long had transpired?
Oh, well, it started back in 2019. I was on tour with with Step Africa, and I was in Urbana, Illinois at the time, and did an amazing production with them called Drum Folk, which deals with the Stono Rebellion. And yeah, please look that up if you get a chance to. There's so many rebellions and so many times that we stood in harm's way against systemic oppression early on, but a lot of the movies and things that we see don't necessarily articulate that. They literally created something called the the Slave Act, where we weren't allowed to have people who look like us weren't allowed to have any type of sharp objects. We weren't allowed to be certain places after 7 p.m. And people who were plantation owners or people who didn't look like us had a right to treat us a certain way after that time frame because of the Stono Rebellion. A direct relation to that and other rebellions that took place in America. But yes, I was on tour with them, and Pat Cruz gave me the call, and I was scheduled to perform in I want to say March or April of 2020. We all know what happened on March 12th of 2020.
Right.
So then that got pushed back to 2021. 2021, we scheduled it, and then we had to push it back again because we were in quarantine. And then I think 2021 we did it again, and then Omicron came out. So then we pushed it until 2022. So I didn't tell anybody. So I still have a whole bunch of pictures I wanted to post, but I purposely didn't post it until after I got back, because I was saying to myself, there's no way I'm going to say I'm going and then not go again. So yeah, so it was literally like a 3-year experience.
Oh, wow. And it feels like that shouldn't have been a 3-year experience happening.
Yeah, but it was so worth it though. So the young lady who invited me to the U.S. Embassy, she's from Morocco and speaks multiple languages. And she said, you can't leave without having a Moroccan meal, right? So I don't know how many of y'all have ever had Moroccan mint tea made by a Moroccan woman who used the Moroccan mint leaf and put that joint in a Moroccan mint tea holder. You know what I mean?
Panama.
With glasses in Panama. Yo, and then this is going to be a very interesting thing I'm going to say, right? Because we kicking it, right? So I'm just because we kicking it.
Like I said, it's a conversation amongst the peoples.
Yeah. So we had she served chicken tangine, right? And stereotypically, as a Black man, I am not unfamiliar with chicken, right? When I tasted that chicken tangine, the flavor profile was incredible, but what was very notable was that my taste buds did a time jump back to 1997. And what I mean by that is the texture of the chicken tasted like chicken.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what we're eating right now, but that was not it. Like, I don't know what type of preservatives and additives they're putting in the food here in America, but like, I haven't tasted chicken like that since I was a teenager.
Wow.
And I remembered it. But then I think because of the fact that, the process of all the things that we've been doing over the past few years, if you're living in America, you don't really taste the difference. But it was such a stark difference. I probably only had chicken like 2 or 3 times since I've been back, and I've been back for over a month, just because I know it doesn't taste like that here unless you get it from a specific location or like a certain type of growing area where they grow and raise the chicken. So
oh, that's interesting. I'm glad I wanted to touch upon that. I am so glad. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the link that I have floating at the bottom of the screen on Eventbrite. We're going to talk about everything else you put in your little flyer to me, because we will, but since we're at the beginning of the show, and it's always at the beginning of the show that we have all the people, and we will probably talk about this twice.
Hey, people.
So what is happening next Sunday at Magooby's?
Next Sunday at Magooby's, we're going to just lead off with the fact that it's going to be hosted by my main man, as he would say, my main Apple Scrapple, my man Larry Lancaster, one of the funniest humans on this planet, hands down, right?
Right.
Just an awesome host, just a solid gentleman, a good brother, you know what I mean? Check him out on WEAA on Saturdays. I'm forgetting the time frame. I want to say like 10 to 2, 10 to 12, somewhere in that range. I apologize, Larry, but I definitely wanted to shout you out. But yeah, so he's hosting. And Baltimore Plays is doing. Baltimore Praise. That's hilarious. It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday, right?
It's Sunday. It's okay.
But Baltimore Plays, co-founded by Mark Evans and Kevin Jackson. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely gonna put myself out there. Mark was looking for a place for us to have a venue to perform our first Baltimore Plays, and he was talking about Schoolhouse Rock. And I said, you know what? My man Brooks Long is working at Creative Alliance. We should do it there. And I called Brooks and he said, yeah, that'd be a great idea. You know, sometimes when people say that'd be a great idea after an open mic, that's where the idea dies after you get in the car and you drive home.
Right.
So the moment I got in the car, I said, "Do, hey, yo, Brooks." And he was like, hey, Jamaal, what's going on, brother? And I was like, hey, man, I got an idea. It's not my idea, but I'm sharing it with you. Let's make this happen, you know? And after that, we did Schoolhouse Rock twice. And then after Schoolhouse Rock, we did it at Creative Alliance. Then we did it at WTMD for Saturday morning tunes for the children. And then we did The Wiz, where I'm not even gonna hold you. That was one of my best vocal performances, like singing ever. And nobody recorded it. But I'm just telling you, and so y'all can know that it was awesome, right? So then I did that. And then after The Wiz, we did the Lauryn Hill tribute. And that was the first time we did an event that completely sold out. And that was backed by popular demand. So this is our third time doing it. But every time we do it, we add another wrinkle to it. So first it was primarily the Lauryn Hill tribute. Then it became the Lauryn Hill Fugees tribute. And now it's definitely like in full swing. We also did two 80s, 90s tributes. And we did a Christmas holiday show for Baltimore Plays.
Christmas again.
Yeah, we got to do Christmas again. I'm going to definitely talk to Mark and Kevin about that. And yeah, we have an amazing cast. So this tribute is going to be amazing. We're going to have a couple of curveballs for you all. There's going to be a lot of different genres represented in there. And we got Lester Wallace Jr. on drums. We got Irv Madden on bass. We got Kevin Jackson on guitar. We got brother Trell on the keys. We got Nisha on vocals. We got, oh my gosh, we have Miss Crystal on vocals. We got Corinne Evans on vocals. We got Mark Evans on vocals. You got me on the beatbox and all the things. You know, I'm doing all the things.
On vocals and a little bit of rap. Like I said, I've been there. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So this is happening next Sunday at Magooby's Joke House in Timonium. That's the official city where it is, right? Timonium.
Yes, indeed.
In Timonium. We have the Eventbrite link floating across the screen here. We will also drop it into the chat so that everyone can click the link and get their tickets. I have been to the 90s tribute. I have been to definitely the Christmas, and I've been to when it was the Lauryn Hill tribute when you did it on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah.
Everyone, whatever this ticket costs, trust me when I tell you it is not enough money.
Give thanks. Yeah.
This is some of the most amazing artists in Baltimore coming together to give you this type of tribute, this type of music, and supporting your local artists is definitely the kind of support we need these days. So that's why I wanted to make sure we got that out early.
Appreciate that.
No worries. I have some questions I will ask you later that'll be about how you got started, writing and everything. So we'll deal with all of that later. My first question, so what is the beat, Baby Beats? What is Baby
Beats? Well, Baby Beats was started and inspired by our children. And I believe the children are our future. You know,
right.
Teach them well and let them, you know, the rest, right? So
yeah, let them lead the way.
So when I was sitting in at the Baltimore Boom Bap Society. Shout out to Wendell Patrick, DJ 88, also known as Eric Spangler. Live improvised hip hop used to be at the Wind Up Space. Now it's at Lamondo on Howard Street, which is amazing. Right across from the DCAC, if anybody's familiar.
Okay.
And yeah, on the corner of Howard and Mulberry. So yeah, so I was performing at the Wind Up Space, and there was this guy who was beatboxing, and he wasn't Chuck and he wasn't Shoulder K. His name was Max Bent, and we just kind of vibed, you know, like I vibe with Shoulder K, like I vibe with Chuck, of course. And we started kicking it. We did a workshop there's a speaker series in the city. I don't know if it's still going on right now. It was called Creative Mornings. And Max called me. His name is Max Bent, dope vocal percussionist, musician, producer. And he called me and said, hey man, I got this speaking engagement. I want to know if you can help me out with it. And this was the first time we had ever worked together, like just the two of us outside of the Baltimore Boom Bap Society. And I was just like, you know what? I think that'll work out. Let's do it. So we linked up, we put together some of the things that we do, how it affects the children, how it affects us, this, that, and the third. And in that time when we were working on that, we both had kids, you know, and of course we can't have kids by ourselves, you know, we need help, right? So
Right.
you know, we were raising our kids at home, and but we couldn't go out and perform as much. So hey, my man's in them, Candidate Strong, strong side. So yeah, so we're out there, and we're literally just meeting at each other's houses, and I'm like, yo, come to my crib, let's make some music. And then he's like, come to my crib, let's make some music. And we kept doing it. And we heard about this group of ladies called the Boogie Babes, and they would put on music for children and nannies, moms, fathers, whoever. They would pull up on their strollers like around Stadium Armory in DC and in the VA, Northern VA area, and just watch people perform. So we had an idea. We were like, yo, we should do a Baltimore version of Boogie Babes. And that way we could take the kids with us and still perform and still share our talent, you know, outwardly. And it was a great idea. We spoke to the ladies. They were like, you know what? We don't really want a Baltimore arm, but you have our blessing to do your own thing and do whatever you want. And Max said, yeah, so I guess we're just going to have to do some baby beats in Baltimore. And I was like, that's going to be the name of the group. We're going to be called Baby Beats with Max and Root. I said it just like that. And it rhymed just like that. So yeah, so we did that. And then I realized we did a couple shows in Philly. Shout out to the Philadelphia School and Lisa's son, the principal there. Or possibly the headmaster. I don't want to get myself mixed up. But however, we were there and we were doing some stuff for kids from the 6th grade down. But then, you know, 5th grade up, they don't want to do baby beats. Like we're not babies. So then I came up with the idea of the hashtag Beatbox Dads. So we evolved into that, got a logo from my really, really good friend, Tony Smith, amazing graphic artist. So check out Art Addicts. She gets it together. She did all of our Baby Beats logos for like the first 2 years of any event we did. They were hers, and she did our logo. And if you look at the Baby Beats logo, I should have a picture of it. But if you look at that logo, there's a chocolatey child in the middle. That's actually my daughter. The other chocolatey child below is my son, and the other gentleman is Max's son. Because at that time, those are all the kids we have. We still have the same amount of kids, now that I think about it. But yeah, so that's pretty dope. So yes, I think that was a pretty awesome thing we did. So yeah, that's how I got started.
How was working with your children and being able to bring your children while you work? How was that working for you during those early formative years?
Oh, seamless. Because they loved moving around. We loved moving around. We didn't really put a lot of restriction on how they moved. As long as they didn't damage our equipment, we were perfectly fine with them. And that way it gave children an impetus to explore and maneuver and move around. And Max and I are like the ambassadors of hip hop for these newborn children. So like, this is the music that they get to hear first, right? So that's super dope for me. And also the children were really awesome and pivotal in letting us know what sucked, right? Because if it was whack, kids don't really have a filter. They'd be like, Daddy, I don't like it. Play the other song. You know what I mean? Or Daddy, I like that song. That song is amazing. You know what I mean?
Right. So
there's a song I do with Nelson of Nelly's Echo called One Day. Definitely check it out if you get the chance. It's an amazing song. Nelly's like an amazing dude. And my son told me one day, he said, Dad, that's my favorite song. And I was like, oh, that's your favorite song out of all my songs? And he said, no, that's my favorite song. And I was like, oh, and I don't even got pearls, y'all, you know what I mean? But I was about to clutch him. I was like, boy, you just
just right in the chest, right in the, oh.
Yeah, but you know, my eyes didn't sweat though, you know what I'm saying? I said, get back in there. I did a couple push-ups. I was good, you know what I'm saying? I was good.
I love that. I'm so glad I was able to touch on that because, like I said, I mentioned as I was getting ready to read your bio, I know I've known you for over a decade. When I first came to the Baltimore poetry scene, you were there with the Mindstate mix. I remember that.
Wow.
And Mind Freedom.
I love that time. That was such a beautiful time.
It was. It was. I'm going to veer for a second because one of my favorite features, probably we're going to go of the years before the pandemic.
Yeah, pre Calabasas virus.
Yeah, in the before times. one of the best features that I've seen was your feature at another one of our favorite venues. Also former Keep the Mic On guests. When we tell you, by the way, we have dropped so many former Keep the Mic On guests in this conversation in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, we have.
Kevin Jackson, Mark Evans, Word Slave.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we didn't say Love the Poet, but she's in there. So yeah.
She's coming. We're working on getting love.
That's what's up.
But former guest Alex Alexander, when you did Bolton Hill Open Mic Series.
Alex, that's the homie.
Yeah.
That's the homie.
Yes. That was that night. It was like transport. It was like time travel. But the way that night went down with everybody that showed up.
Yeah.
And everybody, and that was there, and the energy in the room, that was a whole time travel.
Yeah, and Semantics was there. Yeah,
Yes.
it was amazing. And Q was on. Yeah, Q was on the guitar. That was an amazing night. Yeah, that was dope.
Pope was there.
Word was there.
Word was there. J Pope was there.
Semantics came out, and she's like a legend that like people don't. They don't even know if she's a real person because she just shows up. You know what I mean?
That is true. That is true. So again, we're back to support your local venues because I know that I think the tickets at that time were $5 to get into Bolton Hill Open Mic.
True.
I sold a book, so I made money attending your feature.
Absolutely.
And that was, again, another $25 ticket that I probably still would have paid because I support the artists and I love watching everyone perform. I'm as much of a fan as I am an artist and a promoter.
Same. Absolutely. Same.
Yes. Okay. So your latest song, which I got a preview.
You did before anybody else.
Anybody else. What is it called?
It's called IT Guys. Yeah, it's called IT Guys. And the acronym is for Internet Thugs. It's funny because there are a lot of people who actually do information technology. And they're like, oh, this is a song about information technology. And I was like, kind of.
Sort of.
Not quite, but it's close. People are using this technology, but
they're not using it
the most informed. Right. Mm-hmm. So.
The track dropped exactly when?
Shoot, don't get me to being incorrect, but I know it dropped last. It dropped last month. I'm forgetting that it was an international release day. I want to say the 19th of March. I said last month, but it is May.
It's May. Yeah, so it's been 2 months ago, y'all. Wow. The track has been out there.
That's crazy.
So I'm going to say you must go. Where can people find that track? If my computer was acting right, I would be able to pull it up right away, but my computer is not.
You could definitely find it on Bandcamp. You can just type in Black Root. It's featuring Word Slave. It's produced by J Soul, aka Black Sinatra, amazing producer. It was produced and mixed and mastered. Actually, it was recorded at Right Way Studios, and then it was mixed and mastered at Stages Music Arts out in Cockeysville by Evan Kornblum. Amazing musician, amazing audio editor and producer and mixer in his own right.
And the other person that is on that track?
Oh, my man's in them. Word Slave, you know what I mean? Yes. I said that off the top. But the visual art. Sure I heard it. But we'll say it again, So the visual art was actually done by a friend of mine named Nathan Blaze. He was one of the first people that I freestyled with back in 2001.
Okay.
Who's like really pivotal. He actually recorded. We recorded our first project, Black Root and Word Slave and Black Root present the mixtape CD back in 2004. We recorded that in his bathroom, and you can't even tell it was in the bathroom. He did an awesome joint. So yeah. Oh
wow.
Yeah. So if you can dig that in the crates, I have a couple of songs on Bandcamp with that, but that was like if you got that, like you that's back in the day. That's 2004. So.
I remember when it dropped. I don't know that I have it, but I remember when it dropped.
Yeah, if I still have any in the car, I'll give you a copy because we used to keep everything in the car, right? Like who has CDs now?
Right, because you never know when you're going to sell anything.
Right.
So you were recently nominated for a Grammy.
True, and I'll be very specific with this. So I became a member of the Recording Academy literally a year ago, a little under a year ago, and which is really cool, right? So within my first year of being in the Recording Academy, I wrote two songs for Andres Salguero, who's a member of a group called Un, Dos, Tres Andres, or 1, 2, 3 Andres. And he wanted me to transcribe some of his Spanish songs into English. What many people who are watching may not know is that I'm literally an all-American before we talk about my descendants on the continent. So my mother is from Central America in Costa Rica. My father is from Guyana in South America. And Costa Rica is in Central America. And I was born in North America. So that literally makes me kind of like all-American there. You know what I mean?
I agree. I like that.
Yeah. So I don't say that to too many people, but it is what it is. So that's what made making that song and also going to Panama so impactful for me. Because a portion of my mother's life, she spent that growing up in Panama. You know, even though she's from Costa Rica, but Panama and Costa Rica are like super close. So, so the song is called El Gran Merengue, and then we changed it to The Great Merengue, which is pretty much the translation loosely. And that particular song that I wrote is on an album that Un, Dos, Tres Andres created called Activate, which just means activate. They always talk about physical movement and being active for the children. It's a children's album. So that album got nominated for Best Children's Album of the Year.
Oh,
and
wow.
That song is on the album. So by association, I'm Grammy nominated. So, but the Recording Academy is like, well, nah, you didn't contribute to 30% or more of the project. So you shouldn't say you Grammy nominated. And I'm like, I'm still going to say it.
No, any contribution to an album is a contribution.
I did it. So, yeah, but I've just always want to make sure that I give that clarity and give the energy where it's supposed to go. So, yeah. No, you're right. You're right, Analysis. That's how I know what you're actually saying when you're spitting that rhyme. That spoken word piece. So, yeah. I pick up on most of it. So, I speak it. I hear it better than I can speak it, which is a shame. I definitely need to tighten that up, and I'm working on it.
Was your home growing up bilingual, or was it all English?
It was a little bit of both, which is why I understand it so well. But my mother was like, unfortunately, I didn't realize how rich that aspect of my culture was. So nobody else in my neighborhood, like this whole cultural richness and acknowledgement thing wasn't really popular back in the 80s and 90s, depending on where you grew up, so unless your mom or your dad was, or especially your abuelita, like if your grandmother was really hard and she's like, I'm only talking to you in Spanish, you know what I mean? I had an option, and all my friends were outside playing, in the playground, playing football, basketball. And I literally my mother was a teacher, she is a teacher. So I would be at home with my notepad, writing down all the numbers from 1 to 100, all the IR verbs, ER verbs, AR verbs. And I'd be doing that in the house. And I'd be like, I want to go outside. So I would just keep bugging her to go outside. And then she let me go outside. And I kind of regret asking her to go outside. I much rather would have been able to speak to you fluently in Spanish and English, like at any time I want to, you know what I mean? But I was a kid and I didn't know, so now I have a time to reclaim that, off some reclaiming my time type stuff. So, yeah.
I get that. My father was in the Air Force. My brother and sister were actually born in Puerto Rico, on the Air Force Base in Puerto Rico. And I remember my grandmother, may she rest in peace, talking about how when they came back from Puerto Rico, my brother was actually fluent Spanish. He did not even speak English because he was outside. He was like 5 or 6, and he was outside playing all the time with all of the kids in Puerto Rico.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope.
I mean, of course, 60 years later, 50 years later, he's lost it. But when he came back, my grandmother said, she's like, I didn't know what he was asking me for. I would give him, he said he would ask for agua, and he would hand her milk. She would hand him milk, and he wouldn't drink it because he just wanted a glass of water.
That's hilarious. Yeah, leche. I wish it's just a little something slight.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just a story that just touched my heart with just thinking about my grandmother in that moment. All right,
that's
so
beautiful.
Back to you for a moment. What is before and after projects with Nelly's and Valerie Branch? What is
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm glad you asked me about that. Nelson and I just have a really blessed something about me and duos. And Sherry, you've seen it, right? So like me and Max is a dope duo. Me and Word is a dope duo. Me and J Pope is a dope duo. And Nelson and I are a dope duo. And we're crafting this new song, and it has a completely different energy to it from one day. And it's beautiful. He and I really had a true collaboration on this one. So I'm contributing to the arrangement of the music as well as Nelson. And Valerie Branch is a phenomenal mover. Her art form is dance, and her physical movement capabilities are amazing. So Nelson had the idea of having somebody do some interpretive dance and movement while we're doing the piece. So it's going to be something really cool that we're going to create for you all, and we're going to record it this month. The video, the song is already done, but we have a rollout that we want to have, and just really have it packaged well, so we push it out and do the music reviews and all that. And I really like what I did with IT guys in that regard, where instead of waiting for somebody like Hip Hop DX or All Hip Hop or OK Player to do a music review of us, I was like, you know what's going to happen? I think, hey, peace, Family Earth Museum. And what we're going to do is we're going to have people, our peers, do our reviews. So if you've noticed, every now and again, every week or two, I drop a review that somebody that I respect and admire, reviewed our work. So I want to make sure that I handle that and continue to roll that out. And I'm going to do the same thing with Nelson and I when we drop this project. So I'm really excited about it. But he and I met before he got on The Voice, because he was actually one of the finalists on The Voice. I want to say he was with Team Aguilera, I believe. And he made it pretty far in the rounds. He did Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. And Ain't No Sunshine. But everybody, you know how we do. Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone, even though the only song is Ain't No Sunshine. But yeah, so we did that. I mean, he did that song, and he really presented himself and was his authentic self doing that song. And he got him pretty far in The Voice. But I knew him before that, cool enough. The first time I saw him was at Spoken Serenity Be Free Fridays at T-Volve, when it used to be called Theology before there was like a trademark issue. And Sonny and Dell, awesome people from Philly, by the way, they changed the name to T-Volve, and then they moved it further down. You know what I mean? To over that area where, the cinema is and all that. Yeah, I'm old. I said the cinema. Who say the cinema?
It's okay. Yeah, so, it's all right.
Yeah, you pull up to your Frigidaire. So, so he and I met again a couple of years before the pandemic, and we were just talking about our goals and our aspirations. And I said to him, we just have to do everything we can before the afters come. I don't know what the answer is, but we will when it's done. And he said, that's a song lyric. We should write a song. And I said, okay. And he said, I think that's going to be the hook to it. So that's literally the hook to the song. So he's singing that hook, and then I put lyrics to the song. So and then he put a bridge to it. So it's a very powerful song, but it has a very it's a very beautiful piece. I really hope you all enjoy it the way we enjoy creating it and crafting it.
I cannot wait to hear it. I really cannot. And when I say that Root is one of my favorite artists, Prelude to Procrastination. There's
Lady Trey. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm about to say this. I'm about to put it out there for everybody to see. Again, Lady Trey, we love you. We need to get Lady Trey. She just dropped a book.
Yeah, she did. Clap up for the book.
Clap it up for the book.
Y'all.
And then
clap it up for the book.
Yeah, this is how Baltimore rolls, because we are just. I love the ball. I'm of the DC and Baltimore scene very much so, but I love the love and the energy that the Baltimore artist community has. And I call it a community because it's not just the poets, it's the singers, it's the rappers, it's a community. And it Absolutely. Is the most amazing energy.
Yeah. I got to give a shout out. So we giving shout outs to Milani Douglas and her crew at the Family Art Museum. They winning all these types of awards. They out here. They out here in the streets.
So we're talking about duos, and I want to know, and I don't think I asked Root this because Word Slave was not my interview, it was somebody else's interview. So I'm going to ask you, how did you and Word Slave come together?
Beautiful story. So before, I've always been around music, right? Multiple genres of music. And so like, and when I say multiple genres, I mean Celia Cruz, bachata, merengue, soca, calypso, roots reggae, dancehall reggae, rock and roll, alternative. So like, it would be nothing for me to hear Al Green in the morning, Gerald Alston from the Manhattans in the afternoon, Smokey Robinson in the evening, and then the next day it's Bob Marley, Wham, and Tony Curtis. You know what I mean? So like all that stuff would be just rotating, and then it would be Aretha Franklin. You know what I mean? Then it'd be Joni Mitchell. Then it'd be, you know what I mean? So like it would be such a beautiful mix and blend of music that I would hear all the time. I remember I would always hear reggae when I had to clean stuff though. So I don't know why I love reggae so much. Maybe because I don't like being dirty. I don't know. Maybe that's anyway. But yeah, so my love of music is always solid. However, my passion for the longest time was theater. And that's actually why I went to Towson University and I met my homegirl, Rebecca. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rebecca. She cool. A whole bunch of people from Towson dope.
Right.
So I was in a collective called the Kaumba Collective. But before they were community-based, we were called the Kaumba Players. And Rosalind Cawthon, who was now the director at Baltimore School of the Arts, artistic art director over there, she put us together and we were doing a play called, I think it was called Uprisings. It was a collection of short, like 10-minute pieces. And Rasan's character didn't say anything. He sang. He literally sang throughout the entire 10-15 minutes of that piece. And all he did was sit there and rock back and forth. And he sounded like the lady humming at the end of the Jeffersons. But he was just going, you know what I'm saying? And he just did that. And it set the tone for the piece. Definitely check that out, The Box. It's a great stage play. And we put so much life to it. So I met him there. And when we were rehearsing, he had, you know, an OG's classic that a poet would have. He had a black and white composition book during one of our breaks, and he was writing in it. And I walked. He also was an alumni of Towson. And I walked over to him, and I said, "What you writing?" You know what I'm saying? And we had been working together, but we didn't really have a friendship. We just had a working relationship. And he looked up at me kind of defensive, and he was like, "It's a book of poems and rhymes." And I looked down at him and I said, you know, what most MCs would say.
Yeah.
Spit something. So he spit something. And I was like, oh, all right. And then I spit something from memory, because you know how my memory be. And then he went to another page and he spit something. And then I went to another page in here and I spit something. And then there will be random times where we would just spit something towards each other. Rasan, Word is one of the main reasons why I've recorded studio music. My first time I ever recorded a verse was on one of Rasan's albums, This Is Me. That was his first project. If you ever find that project, I'm on there. We had a song called Chin Relax. I actually gave him a lot of the instrumentals that were on there. And I was like, man, yeah, I gave him some dope, just instrumentals, like popular instrumentals. Because, you know, we make mixtapes, we make projects, we make art. And that was how we met. We met through theater. And my passion was always theater, but I just really became a student of hip hop shortly before I met Rasan. And how I became a student of hip hop was I had a roommate who was a hip hop head, like for real. At that time, I just loved music. And actually, in terms of rap, I was really about popular music. I wasn't really into hip hop as a culture. And I know sometimes people call hip hop a genre, but it's not. Hip hop is the culture, rap is the genre, right? No matter, and rap has a whole bunch of different formations of it, and people be like, that ain't rap. I mean, trap music, it must be, some people don't like it. It's still rap. You got cousins you don't like in your family. They still your family, dog. It is what it is. They just be your family over there. You feel me? So, but anyway, yeah, my passion was with theater.
Mhm.
but there was something about the exchange in theater that I really wasn't digging. Like when you audition for something, no matter how much you did well, if you weren't what the casting director was looking for, you were at the mercy of them casting you, regardless of how well or bad you performed. And something about that didn't sit right with me. I wanted to pretty much manage my own destiny within my control in that regard. And of course, in life, there's a level of surrender you have to have. But I knew that I felt that making music was the move. And when I heard, ironically, I was doing a play. And when I came back to the room exhausted, my roommate said, "Yo, have you heard this Reflection Eternal project?" And he said, Talib said, it was African Dream. And he said, "These cats drink champagne and toast death and pain like slaves on a ship, talking about who got the flyest chain."
Ooh.
And after that, I was like, I stood up in my bed and I was like, hey, I started freestyling after that. And I haven't stopped since.
How has, okay, so there's two questions I want to ask about your theater background.
Okay.
Because, it goes without saying, you're a Black man from, you talk about being from PG County.
I'm still here.
All right. How did your parents take you deciding to go to Towson to do theater?
Oh, my mother was hellaciously supportive.
Oh, that's good.
And my father wasn't the most present. So
Okay.
so his input was minimal in terms of liking or not liking what I was doing. But he was still a proud father in terms of me making accomplishments and moving and goals and accomplishing them and whatnot. So yeah, my mother was elated for it. My mother was one of the most she was my biggest critic. I think the only time she didn't critique me was when I was in a poetry slam at BCCC. And the judges were the judges were Sekou Sandiata, may he rest in power, Sam Greenlee, may he rest in power, and the legendary Last Poets. Those were the judges. And I won that slam. Right?
Oh.
So you couldn't really tell me I wasn't the shit. You know what I mean?
Not that day.
Not that. Forget that. That half a decade, pretty much, right?
I agree.
So the poem that I won the slam with, I came home and I said, "Ma, I got this poem I've been working on." Right? Oh, well, I got to give you a little bit more backstory. So anytime she would see me perform live or she would see me perform on stage, she was like, "Well, Jamaal, you're kind of stiff. You need to blah, blah, blah." And it's funny because if you know me, you know I'm not stiff. But my mom's is like, "Nah, bro, you stiff. Like, you got to tighten that up. You got to, you got to articulate more here. You got to do blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Yes, Mom, I'll work on it." Right? Yeah, peace. Yeah, respect. Give thanks analysis, because that, and I was up against, I don't know which one of him was there. I don't know if it was Slick Vic, Slangston, and Lyrical Leviathan. I probably was. I don't know if I would have beat Slangston, but I think it was probably Lyrical Leviathan and Slick Vic. He was in the slam, and I won. You know what I'm saying? But by all means, I definitely don't want no smoke, because Slangston's out here in these streets. You know what I mean? And, definitely don't. And he's a fellow Virgo too, so it's definitely no shade. But
Slangston is amazing. I just saw him last month.
Yeah.
In Olney, we did a slam out there, and it was just another person again I've known for a decade, and just every time I see him, it's just like, oh my God, how does he keep getting better?
Yo, he keeps getting better. There was literally a point I looked to Word one time. They did something at the Real News Network, and it was like Black Chakra, Lady Breon, Slangston, and Umar bin Hassan was the headliner. And when Slangston opened for him, I looked at Hassan and I said, "Bruh, am I getting smarter? Is Slangston getting like better?" Or I've had so many questions. And Word just looked at me. He was like, "All of those things. All of those things." You know, because sometimes Slangston will say some stuff and I'd be like, "Yo, that's so abstruse. Yo, I have no idea what he's saying." But I'm pretty sure it's dope because it's Slangston. So I'm gonna rock with it. But this night, like, his stage presence was like, the words was like, the content was like, the delivery was like, yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there like, wow, I'm absorbing all of it and catching it, But back to your main point. So, what was your main point? Let me think. Where we at? Towson. How do my parents feel about Towson?
Yes.
And theater.
Yes.
I had a teacher in the 11th grade who said I had a lot of charisma. And when I was ready to go to the 12th grade, she recommended that I take drama. And I took it. And it was like, I was like a fish out of water in that joint. And at that point, that kind of shifted what I was going to do in college. Because at first I knew I was going to do something in the medical field, which I did. I majored in sports medicine, specifically allied health professions through athletic training. And I did that for like 7 years, right? While I was still making music, performing, auditioning for plays, rocking stages, whatever, right?
Yeah,
really rocking.
Some of us are working artists,
right?
Day job and artistry.
and I loved all of it. So that's what made it even more challenging, right? So I love doing things in the medical field. I love being on stage. I just loved being of service and being a blessing while being blessed and doing these things, Right. And so me being in drama for 1 year in 12th grade, I got a lead role. I was like Malcolm in Macbeth, off the rip. You know what I mean? Wow. So that's how much it came to me. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is a new thing now. So like this has to be integrated into whatever it is I'm doing. And that, and then music, art really just overtook. Because I remember my first theater class, I had a gentleman who taught me by the name of Mojo Gentry. That was the first time I thought to myself, you know what? If I were to ever teach, because teaching was never something that I wanted to do when I was younger. But I said, if I ever were to teach, I would teach drama or theater, because I realized how important of a service it is to proctor and administer the information of this art form properly, and how it could be miswielded. It was just so crystal clear to me. And then I fell in love with hip hop, and then I was like, yo, this is what we're doing. So we're at theater, hip hop, and then with rapping specifically, beatboxing a little later, I was like, yo, if theater and film don't pop off the way that I want it to, I can do rap, and I can do spoken word, because I'm still on stage and I'm still exhibiting all the skills and talent, like the skill set that I built from learning my movements and less acts forward structure and knowing my stage business and all that through theater. So
y'all, I want to let y'all know he answered my next question before I answered it.
There you go.
How did learning theater help you now? When did you get into beatboxing? Because that is, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna do my best not to keep Root here for 3 hours, but I know that this is a conversation that him and I probably should have had over several cups of water and tea and food sometime in the past 10 years.
For sure. Well, I'm glad we're doing it here.
Right.
This is actually one of my favorite stories. So Angela Carroll, or Angie Carroll, I apologize if she prefers Angie over Angela, but she was in a group with Love the Poet called CSC Trilogy, which stood for Coppin State College Trilogy. And it was one of my first poetry slams. I was in the Battle of the Schools. And and Slangston definitely got the better of me there. He was like 2 or 3 people. Rada Pyramid was there. But who really, I think Howard University won. Messiah was there.
Oh, wow.
If you're familiar with Messiah. He was tough, yo. You mean wine? What we whining about? What are you talking about?
No. I was saying that this is a conversation we probably should have had over some drinks. He's saying he's probably should have been some wine. He's probably right.
You could have had a Merlot, you know what I'm saying? A Malbec or something, something red. Something red.
Sure. Good point. My bad.
Facts. You know what I mean? But you know what Jesus did with the water. So, So anyway, so I'm at this slam, and during the break, CSC Trilogy's on, and Angie's on stage, and she does her piece and comes in, and they're all just like they're on all Madden, and by all Madden I mean like they're just like killing the mic right now. You know what I mean? Spoken word delivery, bang bang. You know what I mean? Shout out to Jeff Johnson. He'd be like, "Can we bang?" But so. And shout out to Asha. I think I saw Asha in here.
Yeah, Asha's in the room.
Peace. So they're killing it. And when she comes out of her piece, she goes, "Ifrow." And I was like, "Oh, that's tight." And then in my brain, I was like, "I could do that." And then I went home, and it didn't sound shit like that. I was like, "Ewow." And I was like, that sounds awful, right? But it's funny because by that time I already met Chuck, I already met Shoda K, but my impetus for beatboxing was her. And then I sat with myself in the studio that everybody uses to sing, the bathroom. And I was like, okay, how am I going to, what sounds can I already do? And the only sound that I could do effectively was a helicopter. And ironically, I don't ever use that sound. And then I started working on my, my solid kicks, my solid bass drums, my solid snares. And I looked at how Shoda K performed, and I looked at how Chuck performed. And what was really funny was that I remember seeing the intricacy of Shoda K and him creating a sound from like a hi-hat from 1973 or something, right? And I'm like, bruh, who does that? You know what I mean? So then I was like, and then I looked at Chuck, and looking at Chuck, if you don't pay attention, it seems like what he's doing is simple, but it's not. So like the quality of his snare, everybody is literally beatboxing is like fingerprints. You know what I mean? So everybody has a level of uniqueness that it might be certain lines on my finger that align with lines on your finger, but no fingerprint is the same.
Right.
So there's gonna be something that's sharper, crisper, a tighter hesitation, a tighter pocket here, something like that there. So Chuck is super intricate. And what I learned about Chuck is Chuck has a library of sounds. He just only uses a handful that he cares to use, but he can access like a myriad of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty dope. But yeah, so I found my way by not comparing myself to them, but really like learning what they do and trying to figure out where my fingerprints take me in terms of that path. And yeah, and I remember being at Organic Soul, both of them, with the Baker brothers, who are amazing duo, and then hanging out with Spider. And I never forget when I was at Eden's Lounge, that's how me and Spider connected. And it was, I think, Chris Featherstone on keys, and of course Joel and Craig Alston, like amazing musicians. So I'm on stage with them, and some MCs, one of their failings, I'll call them rappers, one of their failings was that they would get on stage and tell the band what they wanted to hear. But what I would do when I got on stage, I'd be like, what do y'all want to do? Because whatever y'all want to do, I'm going to just spit over it, because whatever y'all doing is tight. So that's how whenever I saw Spider, he'd be like, yo, Root. And I'd be like, okay, I'm getting on. You know what I mean? So I just used to love that type of energy and that type of stuff. But of course, if they didn't know what to do, then I would get on the mic and go, all right, do something to sound like this, Spider. And then Spider would literally be like, you know what I'm saying? And then add his, because he got like 8 hands. I don't know where the hands come out. They come out. You know what I mean? Especially shout out to Lester too. And shout out to my man Bryant, because I met Bryant with Wendell Patrick when we did a couple of hip hop shows at the Wind Up Space. So yeah.
Oh God, I love this. I love this conversation. I have one more question I'm going to ask you that is not a part of my get to know you from the behind the microphone questions.
Okay.
After which we will do one more song. And then if anyone has questions, you can go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we will definitely ask those. So my last question, and I bring it up because when I touched on being back out at Olney Theater a few weeks ago, and we
shout out to that. That was amazing. That
was amazing. That was last summer, and we're doing it again this summer. I haven't thought it through how it's going down this year. But the one thing that excited everybody last summer when I mentioned that you were coming, and this is to the venue that I was working with, the didgeridoo. How did you get into the didgeridoo?
I got to give credit to a gentleman by the name of Brian Morose. Yeah, he literally came to the crib and he said, "Hey Jamaal, I have what did he say? He said, I have this instrument. You might like it." And I was like, okay. And it was a didgeridoo. And at the time, my son was a baby. Like he was under 8 months old. And when I played the didgeridoo, it was made of bamboo, and it would calm him. And I just kept playing it. A lot of people don't know this though, but I played the saxophone for about 6 or 7 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, But no, don't be too excited about it. I know the notes, but I still got the saxophone, and it's still
no. Because I'm telling you, one of the questions in the list is tell us something about you that most people would not know, and you've already answered it again. The saxophone.
Yeah, I play the alto, and the baritone saxophone. The fingering of the keys are exactly the same. The tenor is a little bit different because it's on a different scale. Okay. But yeah, so I played the saxophone for many years. I was a very good sight reader. But my improv and jazz, I just never really flexed those muscles or developed them, I guess I should say, to flex them. Okay. But yeah. So,
wow. Okay. So this part of the interview is what it's actually the from behind the microphone questions based on Inside the Actor Studio, how at the end of every interview, he would ask like the same 8 or 9 questions to everybody.
Okay.
That's what this is. I've asked all of these questions before.
I've seen it. I'm happy to be. Honestly, when you did that, I was like, yo, I can't wait till I do that. Are they going to invite me on here? I can't even front. You and Rebecca got me wanting to be on shows. I'm like, yo, put me on.
You're a great interview. I love it.
Oh, thanks, yo. Oh, shout out to Helen too, yo. I think she has a show. I want to check. I want to be on her show too. I just said that out loud. I probably shouldn't have, but I don't know.
So tell us what brought you to writing poetry.
Miss Turner. I was in the 8th grade. She was my fourth. She was like my 4th Black teacher. Female. My first male Black teacher, I was in the 11th grade. His name is Mr. Paul McFadden. Ironically, I got the best grades in that class. I think I got like a 98% in that class. And it was algebra 2. Yeah. But, being exposed to people who look like you do that, right? So Miss Turner, 8th grade. That was one of the first times I wrote poetry. The first time I freestyled a poem and recorded it, I was like 9. And my mother had a clock radio. And this is something like, well, I don't know how many people are on here right now. But y'all are you and I think possibly like 4 or 5 other people. Oh, I'm lying. I actually explained it at an assembly for kids this year because I just forgot it. When I was like 8 or 9, that was the first time I heard how I sounded to everybody else.
Oh, wow.
And that changed a lot of things for me. And I freestyled a song about a good friend of mine his name was BJ. And back in the 80s, 90s, when we said something was bad, it was good, right? That was the first time I ever recorded something and heard myself. And it was like a quick little freestyle. I was like, yo, listen up. BJ got some bad shoes, nothing to do on the school. Like that was the freestyle, right? But I still remember it because I played it back and heard it so many times. And then I tried to like refix my voice and how I articulated for how it sounded. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of cadence there. So, yep, that's Miss Turner. I had a book of poetry, and I had Ronnie Lott on the front cover, running back an interception on there. So, shout out. I know if Word's still here, he used to be a San Fran fan. So, yeah, I used to like them quietly, and I used to like Washington outwardly, which was dumb because they trash. But you know what you're gonna do.
I'm just gonna leave them alone. I've decided just to leave them in their pain.
Listen.
Tell me the story of the first time you performed, I'm going to say, in your preferred art on stage in front of people. How did that go for you?
I got a couple of stories about that. I don't know which one I want to give you. My first... Yo, why you got your eyes like that, though? But yeah, my first... because I love theater. And I fell in love with hip hop too, right? So I'm trying to think about the first time I performed. Actually, the first time I ever performed outside of college was at Warm Wednesdays when it was on Charles Street. And Bassman and Walt were hosting. And I performed. That was the only time I was ever at an open mic and I performed as Jamaal Collier. After that, I performed as Black Root every other time.
I was getting ready because wait a minute. What a segue. So how did you feel about the performance at Warm Wednesdays?
hate you. I hate you. Besides, BJ got some bad shoes. Clearly, I never told Rasan that story.
Right,
So
apparently.
I'm never gonna hear the end of it. So
probably not. You just gonna have to ride with it. You just gonna have to ride with it.
I'm glad I didn't do the whole song, which is why I'm not gonna do the whole song. So yeah, and that was pre-puberty, Jamaal, too. So like I didn't have any of this. I didn't have any of this. So yeah, none of that was there. None of it. So, but yeah. So what were you at? What was the question?
How did you feel coming out of your first performance at Warm Wednesdays?
Oh yeah. As Chuck the Maddox would say, yeah, I sucked ass. It was bad. It was bad. I remember the poem. It was called "I'm Walking," and because BJ got some bad shoes, I will not tell you anything about that piece. Yeah, but it's called "I'm Walking," and it involved like trees and leaves and me looking at everything I see, and that wasn't a part of the line, but it was in there.
I get the point. That's why I just thought I would ask that question, because I always that's actually a question inspired by Rebecca.
Forever. Temptations. Forever.
Because she often talked about the first time she performed on stage. And
I was with her. We were on Wednesday together. We drove up there together. We carpooled in a van.
Oh, okay.
I think I might have driven the van. It was like a community van that you had to rent from. I was the president of the Black Student Union that year. Okay. And it was like a 15-passenger van. They probably shouldn't have had teenage or young 20-year-old kids driving that van. But I was whooping it. I was whooping it real hard. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Right, I get it. So yes, it should. And I like that story because she talks about the fact that she was nervous, that she was, that she didn't feel. She was not the poised artist that we know she is today.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think we get so many people that come to the stage or after a show and say, "Oh my God, I could never do that. I could never get on stage like that and perform a poem." I'm like, I didn't always perform like this. Right. Like I started with a book with my knees knocking. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So your stage name, Black Root, what is the origin story of that name? And what do you want the audience to get from that when they hear it?
Oh, it's dope. So to tell you why I chose to keep the name, obviously I'm chocolatey. So it's black, that stays. Root, my love and appreciation for knowledge and knowing true history, even when it's omitted. So Black Root, so to be grounded, I have a grounding energy. I'm also an earth sign, which is on the ground. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of things that make that name very accessible for me. And when I'm with the children, I go by Mr. Root. You know what I mean? So it's pretty dope.
Right,
so
I like that.
Yeah, but it came from, I got to give credit to my man Dancing from the neighborhood I grew up in. We were getting into my car, and that year was the first year I freestyled in front of them. And we would always kind of freestyle, like Master P and No Limit was real popular back then. So like we'd be joking about whatever job we had. So some of my friends worked at Popeyes. So Master P had a No Limit tank. One of my friends from Popeyes had like the No Limit tongs or whatever. It was crazy. So we'd just be like joking about that. And I had worked at Burlington Coal Factory. So I considered my factory like the mafia factory or whatever. We was talking some foolishness. And then, so my friend literally said, who you think you are? You think you Black Root or somebody? And I laughed at him and I said, do you mean Black Thought from the Roots? He said, yeah, whatever. You Black Root. And funny part of that story, the Roots performed at Ram's Head, and I was a roadie for Kentavious Jones. Word was on congas for that show, which was dope. And I was just trying to find a way to get on stage to be with Black Thought and the Roots, yo. I didn't, but it was cool because when I was doing athletic training, one of the fellows, another name for doctor who's like finishing up his study, Dr. Grant, he was good friends with Kirk, who's on the guitar for the Roots. So when I got there and I saw Kirk, they called him Captain Kirk back then. I don't know if they still call him that. I said, yo, Kirk, Andre said, what's up? He was like, Andre. And I was like, Andre Grant. He was like, oh, cool. Tell him I said, what's up? Which was so dope, right? And then I dapped up Questlove. He didn't care. And then I saw Black Thought and I was like, yo, I'm doing this project. It's called the Mindstate Mix Volume 2. Can I get you to give me a shout out? And he was like, sure, that's what's up. And then I was like, all right, say I'm giving a shout out to Black Root and J Poe. He was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, so then I explained to him that Black Root was, you know, paying homage to him and the band, and I told him the story, and he was like, "Oh, that's what's up." He's like, "All right, you could rock with that name," and I was like, "I mean, I'm glad you liked it. I was still gonna do it anyway, but I'm glad I got your blessing, bro, because that's amazing." So, yeah, so that was pretty dope. So I always like to tell both of those parts of the story.
I love that. Who is your favorite writer? It could be a songwriter, poet, author, anyone.
Stephen Morris.
Nice.
A close second would probably be Richard Wright. But man, this dude Walter Mosley though, I don't know why I was so late to the party. Walter be getting it all the way in with the words, man.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm reading this book with him right now that I haven't finished. I think it's called Stories of an Awkward Black Man. I think that's the name of it. That sounds pretty dope. So.
Yeah. All right. Question that Rebecca gave us, and I told her I was keeping it because it was such a good question.
Okay.
What is the name or the prompt of the piece you have not written yet?
I got a couple of those. What is the name of the prompt of the piece I have not written yet? Whew. How personal do I want to get with this? I guess I'm gonna get all the way personal. So I had a personal conversation recently, and I had said, this is really personal. I had said that I shared my last meal with my mother today. And I watched her eat it and enjoy the food. And I said to myself, how does she enjoy that meal so well when I know she can't fucking taste it? So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to get through that and finish that. But that might be something I use.
And I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to, not moving on. You know why I'm going to move on to the next question.
No, I understand. And it's, and I apologize because it was
no.
Yeah. So
no, that's a beautiful prompt. That is a beautiful prompt.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I have been unable to write on that topic yet. I mean, granted, it's only been a couple of months, but all right, next question.
No, you good. You're just so good. When I wrote My Mom's Hands, that was 5 years. So there's no rush on that. If ever, if it never happens, it doesn't take away from the beauty of who that person is. No,
it doesn't. And for the Kitmo audience who may not know or have not heard, I lost my mother a couple of months ago. And the only person that seems to be trying to rush me through this process is me. I am my worst enemy. And I know that. So, so we're going to be aware. So you can have a 1-hour conversation with anyone in history, living or dead. Who would you choose and why?
If he truly exists, God.
Ooh.
Or if they truly exist, or if it truly exists, or
his
being truly exists, I would speak with God directly.
All right.
The creator.
All right. So Pier 6 is set up for you. You have the best seats in the house. 3 acts, again, living or dead, who would you want to see perform that day?
I thought you were gonna make this hard, man. James Brown, Earth, Wind, and Fire. You said 3 acts?
3. Yeah.
Jeez, that's whack. James Brown.
I can give you 5.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was gonna work my way around it because they were just gonna people coming on stage during their show. So you know what I'm saying? I got you.
Right. Okay.
So, like, when James Brown's on stage, Prince and Michael Jackson come on stage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and when Earth, Wind, and Fire is on stage, Aretha Franklin comes on stage.
Ooh.
So that's it for me. I mean, and of course, there's way more, but that's a solid group of people.
That's a solid show. I would attend.
Yeah.
I would attend.
And it's crazy because the Temptations were like my favorite group until I really started listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I was like, yo, who are these people?
Isn't that the amazing thing about music? Whoever it is, first off, I'm a diehard New Edition fan. That has not changed in 30 years,
absolutely
35 years, and it ain't going to change no time soon.
I can dig it.
But I also listen to coming up. My brother and sister are much older, so I was very much into P-Funk, the Ohio Players, right? And so, like, the more I get to listen, when I hear it now, and I'm like, oh my God, that catalog is so wide and
it's
so
dense. It's dense, yo. And then when you get into Confunction, yo, or Ahmad Jamal, yo, it's dense. It's so dense. Oh, it's so dense. Yo, I didn't even mention Anita Baker. I didn't mention Control. I didn't mention the System like this. I didn't mention Lufa with the F, Lufa. Like Lufa.
I would love to have seen him live.
Man,
I think one of my biggest regrets is I want to say the year before Rick James died, he performed down at Constitution Hall, and I did not get a chance to go.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what's a blessing for me? They're people that I wanted to see before they passed away. I had a chance to see, like you said, Pier 6. I had a chance to see Stevie Wonder from Pier 5 for free.
It's
crazy, right? Better seats than some people who were paying for it at Pier 6, right?
Right.
And then I saw the OJs. And then I want to say the following year, I saw Stephen and Ziggy Marley and Rita Marley on stage at Pier 5. Yo, Pier 6. Now, as a result of me seeing so many free shows at Pier 5, I'm gonna pay to go see a show at Pier 6, like probably in the next 2 years, just off of GP.
Just to give them some money.
right. Just to give them a little paint where it ain't. You know what I mean? So yeah.
All right. So I'm going to skip the next question because that's tell us something most people don't know. That this whole interview has been littered with that.
It really has. Yeah. I'm really going in with you on this one.
Do you have another creative outlet? And if no, is there something you would like to learn?
Yes, something I would like to learn. And I do have another creative outlet. My other creative outlet would be dancing.
Okay.
But I'm not a professional dancer, but if you put on the right music, I'm gonna look real professional.
I get that.
So yeah, and I would just say just movement. Like I love gym is therapy for me. Like working out is just therapy for me. So music and working out for me is therapy. So that's it.
All right. So this is the last question, and then I'm going to let you do one more piece, and then all my colleagues will come back. If heaven exists, and I've taken this one straight from inside the actor's studio. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well done. And I'm sorry. Because
it wasn't all roses.
Yeah, it wasn't all, but it's crazy though, because even when I say that, and I think for me, it's, I know I've been blessed with so much, and I know that people I'm hanging out with have been blessed with so much. That pendulum of where other people are and their blessings aren't necessarily the same. It kind of sucks, and I don't much like that, but that's not my ministry to help every human being in every situation and circumstance, even though like I have compassion to want to do that. I if I was like Mr. Fantastic and I had arms that could do that, you know what I mean? I would do that. And then those arms would also slap the shit out of people that make humanity look stupid as shit also.
Hey, woo.
So, I'm sorry. Is it okay to curse on here? Because I have been cursing.
Yeah, we curse. We grown.
Yeah.
We have our page set to not made for children.
Okay, good. Yeah, because it's just a lot of bullshit, a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of hurt people hurting other people, a lot of people that know what they're doing is pointless and fruitless in the long term, and it's just so frustrating. So yeah, well done, and my bad, dog. Like, we're gonna tighten that up, and we're gonna, let's run it back and make it better for everybody, So there's that.
All right, audience, I present to you one more time, Black Root.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. So no, I'm gonna figure it out. All right, so it's just me. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's easy. Shout out to my man Word if he's still on here. You already know what I'm gonna do, Playboy. It's really his song, but it's mine now. All right, here we go. So no, it's still like it's both ours. You know what I'm saying? We just keep it on, keep the mic open. You know what I mean? Beatboxing, BTK. That's BT and K right there. Now a little bit of bass. Doom, 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 Do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, I said I'm gonna be a rock star. Better believe I'm a rock star, yeah. Do you wanna be a rock star? Do you wanna be a rock star? I said I'm gonna be a rock star. Better believe I'm a rock star. What you do? Pull up to your spot, see a boy on lean. Ride ain't flashy, but you know it's so clean. Girl, show me love, cause the flow's so mean. You don't really know what I mean. You don't hear me though. Trying to catch a view out the side of your eye. Hawk and try to figure how the guy's so fly. Big bad eagle wings got him spread wide. You don't really know what I mean. You don't hear me, don't step into the light and command the stage. Get the crowd riled up, get the temperature raised. Above average, how these diamonds couldn't make the grade. But you don't really know what I mean. You don't hear me, don't. I feel a rush when I crush the show. And it feel even better when I touch the dough. Might be too much to handle and too much to hold. Know what they say about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Hey, do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, I said I'm gonna be a rock star. Hey, better believe I'm a rock star, yeah. Do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, said I'm gonna be a rock star. Better believe I'm a rock star. Hey, hey. Rock star yourself for the night. Get your name in the lights and everybody knows you. But if you shine too bright or fly too high, in due time fame will exploit you. Tabloids will expose you. They'll misunderstand, misuse, and misquote you. And that family that you're close to, they'll misunderstand, misuse, and provoke you. Ain't no joke, just try. No peaches and cream and a lime and a light. Silver and gold for a day and a light. Sold out for a sellout show, that ain't right. Glitter and platinum, maybe a hot car. One night stand, free shout to the bar. Don't rise too high, cause you might drop fall. You sure you wanna be a rock star? Hey, do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, do you wanna be a rock star? Hey, better believe I'm a rock star, yeah, yeah. You wanna be a rock star. You wanna be You wanna be a rock star. You wanna be a rock star. Better believe it. Yeah. Holla.
Yes. Real quick, as we're getting ready to start into my team and everyone coming in to say hi and chat. Drop the information again about next Sunday.
I wish I could sing like I'd be like, "Hey ladies," but I ain't make the beat, yo. yo, looking all ladylike over here, yo. I just
Thank you.
Thank you.
Understand. Yeah, yo. So, Eventbrite. I should have dropped it in the post, but Eventbrite. If you go to Eventbrite and look up Lauryn Hill Fugees tribute show, it will come up. And it's right there. They got it right at the bottom. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Right at the bottom.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
And we'll drop it in the chat as well for other people. And if anyone is watching the show after Sunday, May 15th, the link will be dropped in the show notes on Facebook and on YouTube. It will be there so you can click the link and get the tickets for next Sunday.
I'm going to hide it momentarily so I can copy paste it into the chat.
Okay, no problem. So it's the Lauryn Hill Fugees tribute show from Baltimore Plays.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Magoobies. It's gonna be slamming. I'm trying to figure out what I'm probably gonna have some military fatigues on. I gotta find my Timbs. I'm trying to have the right fit for the 90s era that we about to. I know I'm gonna have a button-up khaki shirt somewhere in the show. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hook it up because you gotta have the little buttons on the shoulders. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you what you want. This ain't what you want. You know what I'm saying? But it is though. So we out here.
And I've seen Baltimore Plays perform several times in the pre-world. And when I tell you that this is one of the most amazing shows that you will see wherever it is you get a chance to see it, it is. So get your tickets and go support Baltimore Plays. All right, off my soapbox. Welcome back, team.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, I just want to shout out right fast my mama who just texted me and said, I want to be a rock star and I'm dancing. I just want to shout out my mama who just said that in the text because she didn't put it in the chat. So.
Yo, if mom said it, then you already know what it is.
Right. Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
so much.
We appreciate that. Thank you for watching.
So amazing. So amazing.
This is I have a couple of things. This is probably in the 3 years that we've been doing this now, right? So it's probably like I'm over here, I'm listening, and we usually do other stuff while we're listening to the show, right? I'm actually yelling at the screen.
Word.
In 3 years, I'm like finding myself like I'm yelling at the screen, like legit yelling at the screen.
What were you yelling about? What happened?
This is so damn dope. Because first of all, I'm gonna back up. I wrote my points down and everything, right?
Oh wow!
So
please come with it.
So legit, I wrote my points down and everything. So first, the origin story for you and Word was dope as hell. Let's start there.
That's real.
And he was my guest on the show, and I didn't ask him that because we were talking about the book.
Yeah, yo, and it's funny. It's funny you said that because boy got books for days, yo. You know what I'm saying? Shout out your boy, yo.
He's and wait a minute, and I'm gonna put him. Because if he's still watching, he has the link. He can come in. So you're welcome to come.
Pull up, Word. Pull up.
The second thing I wrote down was you got to talk about Walter Mosley, and I think I told this story when I had B. Sharice on here, and I've met him before. Yeah. That I had, that question about having a couple minutes to have a conversation with somebody. Yeah. And I had a 15-minute window to have a conversation just by happenstance because of where I was with Walter Mosley and Octavia Butler. While they were waiting for their car service after I went to see them at a they had an authors thing at the Smithsonian, and my mother gave me tickets to this for my birthday. At the end of the night, they were waiting for the car service for about 15 minutes outside, and we had a chance to have a conversation about pick their brain about what it was to be an author. Dopest night of my life.
You know what just happened to me that ain't never happened to me before? I got goosebumps on the outer side of my right thigh. That has never happened before.
Wow.
That's because like that's super dope, yo. Like I'm definitely like nerding out right now, yo.
Yeah, that
shit
was crazy. Dope. That shit was insane crazy. And then the third thing I wrote down was Earth, Wind & Fire is my absolute favorite. Like absolute favorite. My dream, I've seen them both, but not together, which was my dream concert was Earth, Wind & Fire and Chaka Khan. Ooh. I've seen them both, but not together.
Ooh, that would be sick.
Wow.
And they've performed together before. I just didn't get a chance to go.
Yeah.
But when I saw Earth, Wind, Fire, true story, it rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. They were doing a show with Chicago. It rained and rained and rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. But it was at Merriweather, so they don't shut it down.
Right.
I promise you, the moment they got on stage, it stopped and a hole opened up over top of Merriweather, and it stayed like that until they got off of stage and it started raining again.
It's them. There's
swear.
no question. I believe you. Just like when I watched the Super Bowl and Prince was playing and it was raining and he didn't get wet, y'all.
Yeah, right.
Remember that? Does anybody else remember that? He wasn't wet, yo. The drummer's sticks was like,
I saw that.
The water was popping off
Popping off the stick.
My man had the little net around his hair, and
Dry.
you know it was dry because you ain't see no glints of water on the damn net. And I was like, sir,
right,
sir, how does one do that?
How does one do that? And the last thing I wrote down, and I'm not asking the question to the end of the very last one I always ask, because I'm curious to get your answer on that one. But before that, we were talking about the whole Rebecca Dupaz prompt. I want to hear that when you're done. I literally just last week wrote that prompt. I finally wrote it.
Really? Like what I was saying?
What she asked, what the name of the poem?
The general prompt. What is this poem that you haven't written?
You just did the prompt.
I finally wrote that. I finally wrote what is the poem you haven't written. I finally last week. And I'm meaning to send it to her so she can see it, but it's done. Like I wrote that poem. And what you said, I'm now curious to see how you take that and run with it. So when you have that done, I'll be like, listen, Command Performance, come back to this show
just to do that piece,
just to do that poem.
Listen, Root may have to come back anyway because there is so much more. That as we talked, that I'm going, oh my God, I could have talked about this. I could have talked about that. So
this is why I was yelling at my computer. If you're asking, is because there's so much stuff in here that I'm just like, I'm taking away and I'm writing bullet points. When normally I'm like, okay, I'm listening and this is great, but I'm actually not doing anything else. I'm listening, like totally present.
Give thanks. That's amazing.
Yeah, I felt like I know you, but I don't know you at all.
Right.
Yo, because
I don't know this person at all.
Yo, but it's all I think it's just because there's so much love there. You know what I'm saying? So like whenever I would see you out in the metro area, it's just love. You know what I mean? So like, because I don't think we've ever even went to like eat at Busboys. Like we never went out to actually eat food together or nothing. It's just, but whenever I see you, I'll be like, yo.
Yes, every time.
Right, and I see you just every time. That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Because
we need to rectify that situation.
Yeah, we can though. We definitely can.
You're right. We need to do that.
It's just when you get
I was just with an artist the other day, and that was the last. I said the artist has just left town, and I said, you know what? The next time you come in, we need to sit down and like have food and like have a conversation.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I just said the same thing. I was like, I'll be in your city. Let's find time.
Oh, no question. Oh, you when you coming to Baltimore?
I'm in Baltimore, but I'm talking about the artist that just left. I was like, I'll be in your city.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm in Baltimore. I'm always in Baltimore. I'm staying here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And we always eat.
Because we were just over. Yeah, because of the burgers, yo. You know, your lady was making them bomb burgers, yo. Them burgers was. Hold on, let me get close to the screen, yo.
My wife is the grill master. Yes, sir.
I got to know about that.
We're gonna find out.
And guess who got her a grill for Christmas?
Come on, George Foreman. That's like, no, I'm playing.
That's what you should have got.
That joint is going to get put together. We were waiting until it got warm enough to put it outside, but yeah.
That's
the grill is downstairs.
Today would have been a perfect day for that.
Yeah, tell us it was over them burgers, yo, because she definitely put it down, yo.
Tell her we said what's up with them burgers.
I'll let y'all tell her at the end of the show.
I don't have any major questions. I mean, it was such a robust interview, a lot of information. Another one of the interviews I'm going to have to
robust.
Go back and listen to and dissect. It learned a lot. My goodness gracious. So I definitely appreciated you, enjoyed you. I just like, can we just have a concert? I mean, I appreciate the info. Can we just rock out? That's what I want.
Oh, I'm with it.
We're down.
I was like, let's just do a concert, you know. But I thoroughly enjoyed you. I appreciate you coming on tonight.
Okay.
Yo, thank you, Miss
I want to know how.
I think Analysis has a question though.
How did you learn how to do the looping thing? Because I saw that like within person, and I was like, yo, I was looking around and people like, do you see?
All right. So Root, hold
What
on.
is that?
pause.
Him looping himself doing the whole? You gonna make an album in person? Like how do you like? Did somebody teach you that? Did you how? How did you learn that?
Okay, so I'm going to ask Root to hold his answer to that question because it connects with Analysis's question. So I'm going to do both at the same time. So question for Root from Analysis. About your great use of the loop machine. I asked Vince once at a show he did with Mark Avon Evans opening about his use of it. He commented basically that he started it and then everyone is doing it now. LOL. Nonetheless, it seems you're able to bring your unique imprint to it, just as any other instrument, and like others who use it, including your fellow didgeridoo players.
With the indigenous words.
Yes, he did. And he is the poet in Goma. Please say more about this.
Okay.
So those two questions kind of go together.
Well, it's funny because I know who Vince is, but my choice of use of that is not directly connected to Vince, even though much to his chagrin, I'm sure. But Kevin Sandbloom, ironically, and Mark Avon Evans. I remember the first time I saw Loop Station, that Kevin Sandbloom was on stage with his guitar, and he had this song. He was like, ba-da-da-da-dum, and then he just did that, and I was like, oh, that's fire. And I remember him doing that, and I became a roster artist for young audiences, and I got to give props to Laura, my wife Laura. She bought this Loop Station, and she got it. I got to give props to Ryan Fowler because at the time he was one of the general managers at Guitar Center, and now he actually has Ryan Fowler the Guitar Experience, and I bought like a lot of stuff from him. Actually, like this whole setup I bought from him. So this microphone, this mic stand, and this interface is not from him. I got the interface from Max because what is it? The Focusrites do a great job. But yeah, so how I'm making my own and how I practice. Also to get to Kaniki J's question, it was crafted by like trial by fire, right? So like necessity is the best teacher. So when I became a roster artist for young audiences, I had to do a concert, and I remember having this Loop Station. And I remember getting on the roster and having to make a 45-minute concert that would capture the attention of middle school kids at Roland Park Elementary Middle School. And I was nervous as hell. Like right now I'm actually pretty relaxed with y'all, but like, yeah, my armpits was like, them joints was like liquid pools of love in my armpits. So I was like, yo, shout out. I got to give a shout out. I got to give a shout out to Desi Alexander because he's the first person I heard when he be making fun of spoken word poets. He'd be like, my liquid pools of love come out. And it's, he's ridiculous, yo. But yeah, so I was super nervous and I crafted beats with it. But also this Loop Station I have Analysis and Kaniki, I could put wave files on it. So if I want to play an instrumental from anybody and sample it and loop it, I could do that on here too. I can't really sample it per se, but I could just play the straight wave file. Now, if I go through my software on my computer, I can cut it up and, augment it if I want to and still do that. But the easier accessible aspect is for me to just, do my beatbox thing and just layer the loops and put more music to it. My first, the reason I chose Rockstar as my closing song was because that was the first time I really put a full section and combination behind it. Because Rockstar is, all intents and purposes, like that's an Axiom song, but Rasan wrote the hook, he wrote the verse, and I wrote the rap to it. But I ended up doing that at schools, and I don't know why I chose to do that at schools, but when I made those 3 layers, so that's one layer. The other layer is doom, do 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 doom. And then that ding 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 ding. So like I put 4 layers to it. Actually, 5 when I harmonized, but 7 when I harmonized. But I put like 4 layers to it, and then I added those other 2, and that's when I kind of put my own imprint on it. So that's one of the most layered sounds that I craft on it, because after that it starts to get kind of muddy. But I really enjoyed doing that. So hopefully that answers your question. Both of y'all.
It did. And so, I was going to say, aren't the children the most nerve-wracking to perform for all the time? The children?
They were at first. So like, I was the most that when you asked me like my first artistic performance and how I felt about it, I was possibly, I might save this for another time. All I'm gonna say is elder care rehab facility, threatened my life, saved by an elevator. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave.
Okay, no to team. We have to bring him back. And listen, for this part, we're gonna play this clip and bring him back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just push your ticket for another show.
Yeah,
Yes.
So that story is, and nobody, I think like maybe like 3 people know that story because it's a crazy story.
Yeah, you just
and that's for theater. That's just theater. But yeah, yo, like it's just really cool that I have this opportunity to share with you all, and I'm just very thankful for it, and I'm thankful that y'all have created this.
Good, because I got two questions. Go
ahead.
Number 1 question: who is your art for?
Oh, everybody. It's for me.
I knew you was gonna say everybody.
Everybody.
Right?
Everybody in the club get tipsy.
Right?
Yeah. But to quote Abio Doom from The Last Poets, it's important that if you're earnest about your art, and I'm paraphrasing him terribly, but it's important it's important about your art that when you craft it, you go back and revisit it because your words can heal you.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, because there's literally this song I did with J Pope, and I went back and listened to it, and I made that song with her over a decade and a half ago, probably. And I went back and listened to it, and I was like, wow, I should have been saying this to myself a lot more frequently. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that. You know what I mean? Oh, and there's one other piece I wanted to do for y'all, but I'll save it. It's called Healing. Y'all should just check it out. It's on Bandcamp and Spotify. It's called Healing. It's a great mantra, and a great affirming song. Because all I do is healing is probably like 3 sentences, but it's like a 2-minute piece. And I think I'll just give you a piece of it. I say, I've watched you. I've watched you search. I've watched you search for things. I've watched you search for things outside. I've watched you search for things outside yourself. And I just leave it with that. You know what I mean? And that's literally 1 sentence, but I just broke it down. And I got that inspiration from actually.
What is that?
Also, wait a minute. And also another plug for Prelude to Procrastination. It's not PG Represent, but there is another song on that CD that every time I have to do, every time I'm working out and I'm at an exercise that I don't want to do, this song comes on and it's like, you better do it. And I'm like,
Is it rock to it?
That's it. Rock to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time.
I held that up because one thing about me is it's the only reason why it's kind of why I started Spotify in the first place when I found out I could do it. I have albums upon albums upon albums of poetry, like stuff I probably have hard copies of, but I don't want to cart my entire collection with me when I'm sitting on a plane or when I'm, commuting to work or whatever I'm doing. So that is I literally have albums upon albums of stuff, and I mix up my poetry albums.
Nice.
So
I may get that. I may get something else. I don't know. I may get you. I might get Mark Marcel. I might get Sheba. I don't know. It just happens. It does.
Wow, yo said Sheba, yo. I remember her with Slamonomics, yo.
Hey, Root, before you get into the last question, which Danielle is going to give you.
But I didn't ask my second question.
I know. Sheba will be here in October. Go ahead, Nikki.
I wanted to give you an opportunity to shout out somebody. So I always say, my mama is the person that I call first when anything happens. I call my mama to be like, girl. That's how I talk to my mom. I'll be like, child, girl, lady. Let me tell you, this is how the conversation happens, right? Nice. I want to know who is your person or people that you call first to let them know something's happening.
Oh, man. It's family. It's generally, and it depends on what it is. So, yeah, it's they're always. I probably say it's the same 3 to 5 people. I'll just leave it at that. It's the same 3 to 5 people. But I will say this: there's a new person now that I'll add to the list that they're always like, whenever I get new information, they'll hear it first.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
yeah.
It's good to have. It's good that you have people instead of person.
Yo, it's a
That's a
massive,
thank God for that.
it's a massive blessing, yo. Like one of my homeboys told me one time, he paid me like I don't, it's not often like a dude might make me cry from saying something. And it's not that I'm afraid to cry. So that's not the case at all. But sometimes I just I laugh or cry internally, you know what I'm saying? But it's there. But yo, he said something to me one time. He said, yo, I think he told his father. He said that if he were to get to heaven and he had permission to get one person to come with him, he would like outside of like his blood relatives, he would ask me to come with him. I was like, wow, that's crazy, bro. Yeah, and I was like, wow, like that guy hit me in the chest. I was like, wow. He was like, and then Eat a Poet MC, when I turned 40, I did this really cool thing. And it's funny, I'm glad I'm sharing it now because I wasn't doing it for notoriety or recognition, and that's why I didn't post it on Facebook. But 40 days before my 40th birthday, I made it a point to either call or physically see somebody and tell them how they impacted my life directly that helped me to get to that 40-year point. And E was one of those people because E was responsible for my first poetry feature. And I remember I was at Smoking Word Revolution on West Eager Street. And after somebody did a set, I said, yo, E, this one was dope, blah, blah, blah. I'm glad you're doing this, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, hey, yo, so when you featuring here? And I was like, hey, man, just let me know when. You just let me know when. And I just said it like just to say it. He was like, all right, December. And he gave me a date. And I was like, oh, for real? And I had never featured before. And I had never solo featured before. I've been performing with Word. So I'm like, I got to stand out on my own. So what I did was I did a monologue. I did like 2 original pieces. And then I called Rasan up. We just did like a couple of Axiom songs. And that was my feature. And all my features, like back then, all my features, even when I was comfortable with doing a solo feature, all my features involved bringing up people that I cared about musically on stage to share with me. And that's pretty much one of my superpowers. One of my superpowers is just to like make connections with people. You know what I mean? And make connections with people that might not necessarily connect if they hadn't known me, like through me. You know what I mean?
Is that not an amazing superpower?
It's dope, yo. You got it too, yo.
I know, because I was just thinking about it. Last summer, back to Olney. This is the last story, and we're gonna get because it's almost 2 hours. I really hadn't planned on us going this long, but after the event we did last summer, I'm watching everybody, all the artists that were performing, all talking to each other. Megan Rickman. I'm hearing Megan Rickman and Root talking, and they're like, she's like, I'm working on this movie of my poems, and she's like, I need somebody to do the soundtrack, and they're talking, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm happy I got paid that night, but I'm like, it was that moment that I'm just like, this is why I do what I do.
I really like that. Y'all gotta run that back, man. Bring me back there. That joint was fly, yo. That joint was super
Everybody
fly.
that was on the stage last summer has asked me to come back this summer. I have artists that have heard about it that are like, well, what I got to do to get down? I'm like, I only have 8 slots. I got to work it out.
Yeah. That's fire, yo. That's on fire, yo. I love it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
It is tentatively back on the schedule. I have 2 headliners coming in from out of state this year. So we're going to have a good time this year again. So follow me, follow around. We will drop more details when Olney happens again. Yeah. All right, girl genius.
Hello, LA.
All right, this is the hardest question you will answer all night because this is go a million different ways.
Okay.
All right.
Don't put that much on it because I might be like, it's like a real easy question. Be careful.
Nope. Hardest question it's usually the hardest question of every interview.
I believe you though, because you're a girl genius. So I believe you.
All right, here you go. Quick reminder, you've seen all the segments of the show. You've done Sherry's segment. Mine is let's talk about the ... typically books. Mm-hmm. Then you have passion projects, and then you have poets and platforms, right? Mm-hmm. So now that you've been on the show, who, for any of the segments or even our 5th week roundtable, do you think would make a good guest? Who would you like to, whose brain would you like us to pick?
Oh.
Who do you think could stand, who could sit through 2 hours worth of us digging through their life? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I guess I got to give you one.
No, you can name a couple. You can, if you come up with some later, email us and let us know.
Yep.
Okay.
Mind you, we said there's been a list for some time, and your name was on the. I promise you, was on the original list.
Your
Yeah.
name.
It's literally we had like 50 people when we first did this list. We have not gotten through all 50 people.
But when I see the people that you did have on, like, I'm like, I completely understand why you got to me when you got to me. So like, I'm not offended. Let me see here. Shoot, that's a lot.
I told you.
You already got Mark. Well, no, I don't know where to start because I have a couple. I'll just name the first 5 that are in my brain. Walter Maxfield Jones.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Let me see. Another one is Nelson and Mokbai from Nelly's Echo. Let me see. Tia Anthony. Because she was one of the first people I saw take professional pictures of people at an open mic ever.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and then I kind of feel like she might feel like Vince would feel, like justifiably so, because nobody else had professional, like nobody could afford professional cameras back in 2004, 2000. Them shit was expensive. Like they were like VHS cassette camcorder costs. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And her pictures are dope too.
Yo,
they were.
And yeah, so I would say Milani Douglas would be a great person to have on. I would say Kelly Bell would be a great person to have on. I would say if no, I ain't gonna say that first. Who else? Brooks Long would be a great person to have on.
You're the second person
to bring up Brooks Long, and I think Brooks is on the list as well.
And the reason Brooks would be so great is because Brooks is one of the youngest old people I've ever met.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and real recognize real, because like I'm a young old person too, but I lead with so much youth. Like you can't really tell how old I am until we have like a conversation, depending on what topic we dig into. I was definitely, some part of me was in the 70s and the 60s at some point, like as an adult. And I don't know why, but yeah, like I was there. Because like I remember when I was in my 20s, I was hanging out with like 30 and 40-year-olds, and they didn't know how old I was until they started really getting into the minutia of that time period when I wasn't alive. Like when they might have been talking about commercials or like certain events that weren't on television, or you know what I'm saying? Because like I'd be when it was music and cinema, I'd be talking like how do I actively know about like Lola Falana and you know what I'm saying, and the Brothers Gibb and the people who outsang the Brothers Gibb to me, Tavares, like
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I know that's hard for some people to take, but yo, Tavares can sing Brothers Gibb under the brothers table. You understand me?
I can't disagree.
And then the lead singer was married to Lola Falana, and I was like, yo, who does that? And oh man, and then like I was so happy to see The Wiz, and I wasn't even live when it came out, but I'm so happy to see it. And I was like, don't nobody bring me no bad news. I was like, yo, it's so great. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and that was the last time Michael Jackson had one of our noses. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. I was walking around the other day. Speaking of this, I literally was walking around the other day talking about a teeny. I was like, what is wrong with you?
Yo, I love that part. Yo, Nipsey. Yo. All right, no. Since Vassan made fun of me with the BJ got some bad shoes, yo. When we did the Baltimore Plays The Wiz, he was the Tin Man. And he hated doing Slide Some Oil to Me. Because he was like, and let it lubricate my mind. And he hated that joke, right? Because he was like, man, he's like, Maul, I'm a grown ass man, dog. I don't know about all this lubrication in my mind, dog. Like, I don't like it. And I'm like, bro, it's oil, bro. Like, you a Tin Man. Like, chill out, yo.
All right. First off, I'm gonna say this. Yes, Black Root has definitely punched his ticket for another interview. Everyone in the room, please let's give a huge round of applause for our guest tonight, Black Root.
I gotta give a round of applause to y'all, man. I know ain't nobody done that. I love to do stuff that
No, they haven't. That's awesome.
And nobody clapped for y'all.
I get one of those.
Yo, but Miss Cayenne, I gotta get to know you a little bit, yo.
Yeah.
I'm just a big fan of, you know what I'm saying? New chocolatey people, yo. Come on, like clap up for that. Clap it up.
So everyone, we will be back next week with Poets and Platforms with Kaniki. And Kaniki, who is our guest?
Child, who is the guest? My mind is
Roddy.
Wait.
Roddy is the winner of she is the winner of Woman of the World Poetry Slam, and apparently did she also win Sips as well? So yes, definitely doing her thing, being the slam masteress. I don't even know if that's a word, but yes, definitely.
Is this Lady Breon?
No, Roddy.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So we got next week.
That's dope.
So everyone, we ask you to stay safe. She's amazing.
Okay.
Stay safe. Wash your hands. We will see you back here next Sunday. Please like and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube. Help us get where we're trying to go.
Yes.
And we will appreciate y'all support. Get tickets for Baltimore Plays next Sunday.
Thank you.
You can hit us in our Cash App and keep the mic on. We will see y'all all again next week. Good night.
Hold on, don't go yet. I gotta take a picture. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Hold up. Are you ready? I'm gonna tell y'all to be ready. Be ready. 1, 2, hold up. Make sure I look good. Hold up. Do I look good? No, y'all look good. Hold up. We good. We got it.
All right. Good night, everybody.